Okay, so this is Ozone's Exciter, which is a multi-band saturation unit. We have four different bands with a bunch of different types of distortion in each band. So let's go through a couple of these. So the analog distortion is going to introduce those odd harmonics. So odd meaning the frequency of the fundamental in each part of the distortion. So that's going to emulate the old transistor type distortion units you would get, from analog gear. The next one is warm. So this one will produce even harmonic saturation or distortion, but with a quicker decay. So meaning that there's not going to be as much high frequency distortion in this type of saturation. It's gonna roll off a lot quicker. The next one is retro. So this one's going to be odd harmonics again. So this is but this one's going to give a brighter sound to the distortion. It's gonna here. Why don't we actually try this? We can go through. You can hear how each one affects right here. You can hear the subtle differences right there. So, the next one would be tape, and tape offers another. It's brighter saturation. Now let's hear how that sounds. So all of these you want to be using sparingly. You don't want to be obviously jacking them all the way up. Um, but uh, but yeah, that's what tape's emulating that classic reel to reel tape sound that you would get. Tube. Tube has more of a tonal characterization, so let's listen to that one. It's a little bit different than tape. It's given us more of a uh, more of that mid range tone that we're after. Um, it's just emulates that tube distortion that you'd find in a lot of other saturation units. And then we have triode, which is it is almost like a half of a tube saturator with the analog warmth. You can hear it's not as intense as the other ones. And then we have dual triode, which is like dual tube distortion. So it's going to be both, or it's going to be more of a warm, expansive sound a little bit, which gives us a little bit more overdrive too. So yeah, those are all the different types of distortion. You can use them. I would probably use different types on different bands depending on which bands you're distorting. It all like again, it all depends on which what your song needs. So again, just like we have with the other modules, we have the learn function, so we can play it and it'll learn exactly where these crossover points need to be set. Here we have oversampling, which it will really wreak havoc on your CPU if you've got a lot going on, especially if you're mastering inside of a project. But this will give a massive bump to the clarity and make it sound a lot more clear. Then right over here we have link bands, so we can adjust all of these at once, or if it's off, we can only adjust one at the same time. So we link those, we can bump everything up. So yeah, that is the exciter. Oh, one last thing right here. We have a filter, so we can filter out all of the super high. Remember, we were listening to some of the when we were bumping that distortion up really high. We were listening to some of those higher frequencies. It sounded a little bit harsh, so we can roll off some of these right here. Link the bands. and then that's that. So that's the Exciter.